It's not just any cavern. This is a cavern in space. This is Space Cavern for the Atari 2600, a game that I picked up recently when I bought a lot of Atari games trying to get a hold of another copy of Moon Patrol, and I put Space Cavern into the Atari. I was pretty excited because I had a monster on the front and laser beams and stuff. And this has rapidly become one of my favorite Atari 2600 games ever made. I love Space Cavern. And this game has a tremendous story. Let's read the instruction manual. You are in command of the Mark 14 Intergalactic Star Cruiser in an uncharted quadrant of outer space. You land on a mysterious planet riddled with a subterranean maze of tunnels and caverns inhabited by savage electrosauri, whose horns generate electromolecular charges capable of disintegrating you and your crew. Your photon ray pistol is activated by the joystick and the fire button. The iridescent eyes of the electrosauri light the cavern walls with eerie flashes as they stalk you, their horns crackling and sizzling, just like bacon. Even if one blast of electromolecular energy strikes you, your skeleton will glow inside your body as the biomolecular compounds of your body disintegrate. On top of a great story, this game has tremendous gameplay. And like Moon Patrol, you have enemies above you and coming at you from the sides. The shaggy marsupods come out of the left and right side of the screen. So you have to keep an eye on the electrosauri shooting at you from above and also the shaggy marsupods coming at you from the sides. You shoot up into the air with the fire button. Pushing up on your joystick shoots left and pushing down shoots right. So it takes a little while to get used to it all, especially when the game picks up speed as you get into the later levels. Once you passed 40,000 points, it starts moving really fast. And every time you shoot one of these guys, it's like Final Fantasy, the spirits within, like this ghost comes floating down at you or something. But it's like you've just incinerated its soul every time you shoot one of them, which is kind of rewarding. Feels good. When I buy Atari 2600 cartridges, I like to buy them in bulk lots on eBay, where you get 15 or 20 cartridges at once. You save on shipping. If you get a couple spare extra ones that you've already got, you can make like a jacket out of them or something. And the great thing about these lots is they don't cost that much, and every now and then you get games you've never heard of or seen before. And Space Cavern was an excellent find, because this game is a lot of fun. It's very challenging when it starts picking up speed. For an Atari 2600 game, it looks tremendous, and it has a number of different gameplay modes as well. This was my favorite one, but you can also have different options where you have 4 guys on top of the screen and no marsupods, and you can start off at an easier level. I found that Space Cavern was fun and challenging, especially when you start getting above 40 and 50,000 points when it starts picking up speed. And I'm pretty sure that the sound effect when you get electrocuted is the same sound effect as they use in Berserk, which is never a bad thing. As I've said before on some other Atari 2600 games, it's these wild concepts that they came up with back in the early 80s, where they took risks. These games were much smaller than games are today, so they had this huge variety of just absurd stories, various game concepts, and mixtures of different genres, and we don't get that anymore today. So it's very rare that you'll stumble across a gem like Space Cavern within the much smaller pool of A-list games released for the PS3 and Xbox 360. Like, they'd never make an obscure game like Space Cavern or Shark Attack because it costs too much money to make that game, it's too big of a risk, and it's like these games are starting to turn into movies now, like Hollywood movies, where they're all more or less the same except with slightly different variations so they can have different cover artwork. We have first-person shooters, we have driving games, sports games, and not that those are bad games. I really enjoy the well-made new games, but a little variety is kind of nice. Now, it is cool to see smaller games coming out for the PS3 and the Xbox Live for the lower-priced downloads, like Rocket Men and assault heroes, you know? So there is hope. There is hope for the future. There's hope that Space Cavern will be remade for the PS3 and Xbox 360 for a lower price download. 'Cause I don't know about you guys, but every now and then, I gotta blow away some fucking marsupods. If you let those shaggy motherfuckers breed, you will be drowning in marsupods. You'll open the closet door, and marsupods will fall all over you. They smell, they shed, they poop everywhere. Completely untrainable, no personality. You turn your back on them, and they've reproduced. They taste like crap, so you can't eat them. This game lets you live out that fantasy of going green by putting the marsupod on the endangered species list.